Dímelo, mi gente. What's up, and welcome back to another live interview here on Gonzalez Media TV on Millions. As always, I'm your host, Jose G. Make sure you give me that follow on all the social media platforms at Jose G Official and subscribe to the channel over on YouTube, Gonzalez Media TV. But, ladies and gentlemen, I normally have fighters here to talk about their fights, but today I have a very special guest. He is the CEO of Leadvance Group down in Miami. He puts on music events, sports events, and entertainment events all the time in Miami, and he's here to talk all about it. We got the one and only Augusto Mendoza joining us today for an awesome interview here on Millions on Gonzalez Media TV. Happy Friday, Augusto. ¿Cómo estamos, papá? ¿Todo bien?
Happy Friday, Jose. Thank you for the space. Huge greetings and warm hug to all your audience that is watching us. Thank you for the spot.
Let's go. Bueno, Augusto, thank you for joining me this morning. I know you're a busy man. You were just talking right before we went live that you have an event that you're getting ready for next week. You're super anxious. So I want to talk about that. But before we get started with our conversation, Augusto, where can the people follow you on social media so they can be on top of everything you're doing in that world?
Thank you. So, yeah, you can find me in August Mendoza in Instagram. Also, Sim Industry Connect, which is the official platform for our event, which I'm very obviously involved into the day-to-day social media strategy. And in simindustryconnect.com, there you can find my information and all the upcoming events that we will be hosting. And happy to connect. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn, Augusto Mendoza. And yeah, I'm here for all of you guys.
Fantastic. Well, Augusto, thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me today. First, I wanted to ask, man, talk to me about your event. You got a huge event coming up next week. Tell us a little bit about it and where can the people get tickets to go to your event next week?
Yeah, thank you. So the event is called Sim Industry Connect, which Sim means sports, innovation, and music. And Sim, it's a community. It's a community that we're building bridges between these incredible industries. It is a 2-day live event. September 18th, we're going to host a networking mixer in the JLW Marriott Marquis in downtown Miami. Just to start the conversations, the warm up for the big day. We will have honorees that they will share insights, expert panels, experiences, best practices, because we're bringing people that are from, they have Latin Grammys, World Record Guinness, top executives, investors. It's like a really huge community that we're trying to build these bridges. So during September 19th, the day after this networking event, we're going to do it in the Frost Science Museum, which is in downtown Miami also, but very special place. We're going to host everything at the planetarium. So once you enter into that spot, it's magical because you see
Yeah.
the 180 screen, and the vibe in there is very tech savvy, all that space. And we wanted to choose this part of our home for this first edition to give the people a different perspective of leading this type of summits or experiences. And once we have these 2 days, we will have a 12-month program. So that's basically the biggest difference from all of the other summits or all the other business conference that I've been very fortunate to attend too many times in my previous professional career. And one thing that I noticed is that once you finish those events, the more that you can get in terms of connection, networking, or information, that's it. It ends in those 2 or 3 days. But in here, once we finish those 2 days, it's just the kickoff for the next 12 months, where we will have more special guests, more master classes, more networking events, so more happening. So it's like a follow up of all these 2 days, so that people can really start getting involved in the community, trying to find business opportunities, connecting with people that you can normally be part of unless you are part of maybe a chamber or different I don't know, programs you attend to universities. Depends what you're looking for, but this is a place so we can bring all together.
That's absolutely amazing. Now, your event, you focus on a lot of different aspects of the industry. You focus on sports, on music, and entertainment. So, what sparked that interest of diving into that world of sports events and entertainment events? How did this all start for you, Augusto?
Well, first, because I noticed the necessity of having this community because these industries are very interconnected. The technology, if we take a deep dive in the history of how we consume music, if we take a look for the 20 last
Yeah.
years, it's not the same that the way that we consume it as of today, right? So people ask me, "Oh, what do you think? Do you think the music industry will end up and there will be no more music?" No, totally the opposite. The music will always gonna be there, but what is gonna change is the way that we consume the music, right?
Hmm.
We will change the formats. Obviously, technology it's affecting in good ways, and it could be other opportunities that could be affecting the industry, but it's very connected also with the sports industry. There's no event without music, and obviously the technology, it helps you have better experiences since the way you buy the ticket or the technology in the stadium. So it's everything interconnected. And another point is that all the artists, all the athletes are very interested also into one each other, right? Into attending to one artist attending to a football game or
Hmm.
to a sports event, and likewise, right? The athletes are going to the concerts. So that's very interconnected, obviously, in terms of the way that those industries are evolving. But for me, the most important part is to build this community, to find opportunities for all these people that are engaged into this very selective group, or very, I will say select, very exclusive group, because this is the place where you can find maybe some connection that you don't have, or maybe you will need to find a mentor, or you
Hmm.
maybe will need to find a promoter or a business partner or a brand to do something. So this is the space so all this type of conversation can take place.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the saying that your net worth is your network, or your network is your net
Correct.
worth, right?
Correct.
So it's always all about that. But I'm sure it never was easy for you, especially being a CEO, starting off and then building it to where you have now. So as you've gone through your journey, what have you think have been some of your biggest challenges in your journey as a CEO, putting all these amazing events?
Well, I think the first one was for me to everything aligns to your life when it needs to happen. That's the most
For
important thing that I
sure.
needed to learn, because I've been in the entertainment industry for 15 years now, and I needed to pass that, to leave that path, to, because a lot of the things that I'm doing right now with my event is because of the network that I used to build during these 15 years. All of the honorees, all of the artists, the athletes that we're inviting, it's people that I have, on the phone, and I can present the opportunity and try to work that. So that was the first thing, that for me to understand that everything happens until when you need to happen. Then the next one was to decide and act, because sometimes we have a lot of
Mm.
ideas, we have a lot of things that we want to achieve, but we're always waiting for the perfect moment. So for me, I needed to build during these 15 years, to put my finances in place, to be able to have a strategy and to find a necessity, and also then to have a plan. And once I have those three things, then I said, okay, this is going to be the deadline where I'm going to do the event. Because if I don't have that deadline, it's going to be very hard. So now that I have everything that into that plan, then the second thing is that execute, because you will face, in terms of the economic limitations, because you're starting this thing from your own. But for my journey, one of the things that I managed to create was brand partnerships with my former music label, and to create amazing business opportunities for win-to-win projects, and apply those things into all now my personal projects. So I managed to get sponsors into the project. Obviously, I needed to present them correctly so they can understand the potential of the project, of the opportunity that we're trying to build, and then trying to secure those type of financial help that will help me to have better position. Because in order to make this event, it's a lot of logistics, a lot of cost,
Mhm.
everything. We need to
Mhm.
move a lot of things, and I'm a true believer that if you want to really get someone far away, you need a great team in order to achieve that.
Oh,
And I'm very respectful, about the work of everyone makes, like you, for having me this space, or people, with the strategy that we're trying to pull to build the event, and that's a very unique experience. So once I'm into that journey, you will learn, like a million things that you were not aware at that point. But then the mentality that you gotta have is, okay, how can I make this a possible option? Because the first thing that you're gonna feel is that this is too much, and then you're gonna feel drained or
mm.
completely, that this is too much. But the thing is, an entrepreneur, as a CEO, you gotta find the ways to make things happen. That's the main point, and that's my law
Ain't
that I've
that the
been doing
truth?
since the only way. Because it's very easy to say no. And a lot of these honorees and speakers that they're coming to the event, they have these amazing stories to achieve all those things that they have already achieved as of today. But if you take a look to their path, to their story, it was not easy at all. But it's a lot of discipline and a lot of resilience. So all of those things applies to get I don't know, like maybe a world record Guinness. If I need to say, like, you already interviewed a lot of fighters, right, and athletes. But in my case, it will be, I'm a fighter too, but in the business side. I'm always trying to get the things done, and always ask myself, how can I do it? How can I do it? How can I connect to the next one? And that mindset will give you, the perspective to actually keep moving. And I think that's been the key, and the struggles that I'm obviously into day to day. And it's very different when you are in a corporate job, when I used to be,
For
every 15
sure.
days, your paycheck, your insurance is like,
Very
this is stability.
different. Very, very different.
And then when you're in this part, you got to have that mindset correctly so you can have better this journey, and take the most of it.
Oh my God, you hit it right on the head there, Augusto. It is not being an entrepreneur, being a CEO of a company or your own company is not for the faint of heart. It's not. You have to
Yeah.
have the right mindset. I've been an entrepreneur now for 10
Yeah.
years, and
Wow.
it's I've had my valleys and I've had my peaks, right? But it's like everything in life. You're gonna have highs and you're gonna have lows, and it's up to you if you're gonna be the one to move
Correct.
forward or stay stuck, right? So, and it's all a
Correct.
mindset thing though. You're a doctor with a busy practice. You take care of people's health. But who takes care of your financial health? If you have a medical practice, a dentist office, or any type of business and you don't have retirement benefits or disability insurance, this is definitely for you. You make sure your patients are protected, right? You have plans, treatment, and safety measures placed for them. But what about you? What happens if you get sick, or if you get injured, or if you want to retire? What's your plan? Smart business owners use Index Universal Life Insurance as a backup paycheck and retirement plan. Here's why. Your money grows tax free. Okay. Your money's protected when the market crashes. Yeah. And you can use your money while it still grows. No penalties. What? So you own a business and you don't have a financial backup plan? Let's do a needs assessment. Drop the word plan here in the comments or here, and I'll show you how to protect your income and build a tax-free retirement. But I want to go back into when you started into where you're at now, especially the relationships you've had with like artists and different celebrities and things like that. When you're doing brand partnerships or sponsorships, has the relationship between the companies and the artists or the celebrities, has it changed over the last 10 years, especially now with social media being very, very dominant?
Yeah, I mean, like, as we were saying, the music industry has been changing and evolving each year, and also the way that people can make partnerships or these type of endorsements. Also, when I used to work in Mexico City, doing the same thing, brand partnerships, business development in that territory, it was very different for all the tools that we have today. We take a look to millions. If you want to connect with a lot of different athletes, this is the place to be. You just go there, and then you find the talent, whatever you're trying to achieve, and then this gives you an amazing catalog and menu on options that you can work with. So for the artists now, because of social media, they can have more control of their own opportunities.
Hmm.
So when I was working for the music labels, I was trying to be that contact point where I was pulling, the connecting these two parts, the artist manager and the brand. And our job was to do the best filter so we can propose to both of them why this project is a unique opportunity for them, while trying to be organic, trying to have really uh, aligned with the conversations or the message that both want to achieve. And that's one of the value that these companies do. Because on the other side, an artist, they have a lot of things, so they can do their own brand partnerships, but they're artists. They like to be on the studio. They like to do, the creative things.
Hmm.
And maybe at the beginning they can do it without a problem, but once they start to be, elevate their career, their profiles, it's going to demand them other things to do. So
Yeah.
that's where they need a team to find these type of opportunities. And that's why also from Leadvance Group, we're trying to help these artists, these athletes, these celebrities to find these type of opportunities, these brand partnerships, and we handle everything so they don't need to worry about anything at all. Just make sure that be on that day where we need to do a photo shoot or a social media post or whatever, and we handle the whole execution to support them. We're very flexible with the ways we work with the talent because we have that mindset of win to win. But as of today, all of these athletes, celebrities, artists, they can have a great opportunity if they manage to create their own brand in social media, and that
Hmm.
will get them opportunities. They can have, in their inboxes, opportunities from brands inviting them to projects, to events, and they can do it without having, a music label or a management company, because of today how this works. But it's very important to have a strategy, to have a branding, to have a purpose, so that will give you more connections and real proposals that can turn into something more into the long period, rather than just one time
For sure.
opportunities.
For sure. And especially with what you mentioned earlier in the conversation, the way how we consume music, the change of technology, right? We had, 8 tracks, cassette tapes, CDs, and
Yeah,
now streaming, right? Same thing with live events, right? Before there was the pay-per-view model, now they have the
yeah,
subscription streaming model. So everything is moving way more digital, even in banking, right? We're seeing this transition
100%.
that's happening in banking with cryptocurrency, the government taking a pretty big stance on that. And then the next step in the internet is Web 3.0. So are you taking those things into account as the changes of technology move forward? And on top of that, how are you guys preparing for this next step in technology?
Totally. I think you nailed it, because that's also the purpose of SIM, because we're bringing these amazing tech guys that sold already companies, that they're aware of the game. And technology could help us have and optimize our time to the things that we do, right? Maybe we have this podcast interview, but there are some tools with artificial intelligence that if you just plug that video, it will give you, okay, give me 10 videos for this format,
Hmm.
get the most important thing. And
Hmm.
maybe before we used to have that and spend hours, editing and doing all these things.
Yep.
And now there are these tools. So we have an honorary Sebastian Mora that has Alfana AI. This is one of the values, added value that this company could give to the audience, to the artist. So we're bringing him to share all this information. We have also another one, Charles Irizarry, which is very involved into this augmented AI revolution that is getting right now with the company. So that's the point, like to understand where we're going, because once this ball is rolling, there's no stop for that.
Nope.
So you
Nope.
manage to educate yourself, to understand better, and to get the most of it, because if not, you're gonna be back in the game for sure.
I think you said something very, very powerful there. I always tell my audience I do a Spanish podcast, finance, mainly talking about digital currencies and things like that, and what's happening in the government. But what I tell my audience all the time is that if you don't get on the train, you're going to get run over. And this is not just with finance; this is with everything technology that we have
Everything.
going on right now, especially with AI. Like AI right now, what I've been telling my clients is like, listen, you need to learn how to use AI and not let AI substitute you, because AI
Yeah,
is just a tool, right? And if you can learn how to
correct.
leverage it, you will be successful. It's the ones that
Correct.
don't leverage it, and those are the ones that are going to get run over by the train.
Yeah. No, and this is also what happened with the music industry when there was like this amazing golden era of, selling the CDs and all these millions of copies, but there was then the piracy, and then there was the digital platform, or the digital world starting to rise with iTunes and all these things, and music labels were a little bit of, like, no, 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 we're the kings in here. And yeah, at that time, yes, but then technology, I was speaking with our honorees, they made this comparison, for a dog, for 1 year of a human, it's 7 years. No, sorry, for 1 year of a dog, it's 7 years of a, the otherwise,
Mhm.
it's 1 year of a dog. No, sorry, 1 year of a human equals 7 years of a dog.
Correct.
In technology is the same.
Mm,
Every year that we advance with something, it's already like if we did a huge step forward 7 years from the future. So
that's
that's why it's
true.
evolving so quickly. And I love to have this conversation with all these people because it opens your mind, to all things that we are very into our own things, and we normally forget about other things because we're very focused in doing our things. But if we understand how other industries work, or how the technology is evolving or affecting, is the best way that you can be to have a better strategy and define what's going to be the best for your company, for the way that you're working, for your team, and all those things. Because also one of the things with AI, for example, there is a lot of room to continue developing, the laws, to understand the copywriting. There's a lot of things that still be need to be done, but as the ball is rolling, this thing will be continue evolving and evolving.
Oh, for
So that's
sure.
why, if we're not already educating ourselves with that, we are already behind at least 7 years now, if we take that same ideology.
Oh, for sure. And what the pandemic taught all of us, or at least me, was that technology moves faster, especially when you create a shock to the system like COVID did back then. And what that did was just move technology way forward, especially with remote jobs, virtual jobs, things events that can be done online. And with that being said, we also have not only the emergence of AI, but of VR. Live events in VR. They have the Sphere in Las Vegas, or I forgot, is
Oh
people
yeah,
can watch live events like if they're there. So there's a lot of movements in technology. Are those some of the things that you're also taking into account? Because live events, I don't think are going to go anywhere. However, there are some people that may not be able to afford to go to the physical
yeah.
live event, and they may opt to do it virtually.
Totally, totally. And that's the part of also from the technology, right? How with the entertainment industry is helping to live more experiences by this technology, like you said, like in Vegas with this beautiful sphere, all these things that you can able to live and feel once you're there. It's crazy. And if you take out that 20 years ago of having that type of venue, you see, oh, too much in the future, but now it's a reality, right? And all the events and artists performing there, that makes the experience even different by just going to a traditional, venue, theater, or just in the outside with the normal stage. But just being in there, it's a completely different setting and experience. That's why sim, we're doing it in this unique planetarium where we're going to have these speakers, the artists will be performing there. But once you're into that setting, the feeling is completely different where you are used when you're going to a concert, for example.
That's amazing. Augusto, when we're talking, I love talking to CEOs about, stuff like this, technology, but I want to talk a little bit about mindset, right? Just a little bit about your way of thinking and how you approach your business and just overall life, right? Because when you are thrown with, this is happening, like in your event next week, right? You got all these things happening at the same time. How do you compartmentalize and make priority what needs to be priority?
You gotta take the urgent things first, because obviously if you take a look to your to-do list, there's a million things, right? But if you manage to organize that with the things that are really urgent, for the things that could be a task for a medium, let's say, urgency, and then for the last things, that will be the best way that at least I try to organize. Because if you want to do everything at the same time, it's too complicated. Because rather, something comes to your mind and then you were doing this, like this multitasking thing, it's could be a very, it sounds good, but it could be also very not so proactive at the end. So what I try to do is just prioritize at least five things that I can do during that day, and that's it. I try to apply, this 1% strategy of getting better. I don't know, have you heard it before? But it's the 1% better every day, right? So
Hmm.
1% is
Hmm.
not too much, but if you manage to do it at least, let's say, once a week, well, if you multiply that throughout the year, that's a lot of progress that you can have. But you're doing small things each day. For me, that was the same. I'll say, okay, I want to contact this amount of sponsors, but I cannot do it like 20 in 1 hour. Okay, I'm gonna start doing this 3 by day, and then I do it. Okay, checklist. Now the next one, I will take a look to the venues. These will be the ones. And then once I manage to have that, I feel like I'm doing progress, because before I used to have like a lot of tasks, and then you feel overwhelmed, very, very bad. So that's one strategy that we're trying to apply. Not also me, but I'm trying to also do it with the team, so we can manage better the timelines, manage better the progress. And if I take a look to this event that we're creating, Sim Industry Connect, sometimes when you try to see if it was a success, it's okay because I need to have completely sold out. I need to have all these things. But if you take too much hard on yourself, it's gonna be even tougher. But if you say, okay, where I was 6 months ago, there was not even the idea. And now where we are today, now you have the brand, now you have a lot of people involved in the networking, now you have the community. So now that's where you're building. So you gotta see this type of projects as if you're building a house, because you don't build a
Mm.
house from one day to another, or even in 1 week, right? Or
Yep.
even a bigger building that takes
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
In entrepreneurship, being, your own boss, and create your own things, requires that mindset, that mindset, that to understand that everything is through a process and a progress. You got to have these small wins through the time, and then you got to be able to see and measure some result that you have done in those, let's say, first month, and then for the next one. And once you start to see that, but then you finalize that first year, and then you say, oh wow, I achieved a lot. And maybe you were thinking, no, because I haven't done this event with at least 100 million people out there, it's not a success. That's not the way to, for at least for myself, to measure the success or the progress that I'm having with the companies that we're building.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really really great advice, and it speaks to your leadership too, to what you've been doing with Leadvance and with Sim. So, with that being said, what do you think is the most important quality a leader should have when running a company?
First of all, like, to truly believe in the project. I think if you don't really believe in the thing that you're creating, it's gonna be hard to have the other ones, I won't say follow you, but just believe in the idea. When I presented this project to our honorees, that we have 20 honorees, and again, it's from all over these different industries, from Latin Grammys, the artists, the top executives, but I managed to create very micro, unique moments with them. So when I was telling them, I need to see you, I have something very valuable to present to you, I was, my mindset was, what could be something different, that if somebody will invite someone to an event, what can I do different? So once I was with there, with these CEOs, athletes, artists, I came really prepared with very special thing for them. I explained them everything, and I truly believe in the project, and that totally changed the perspective of everything. So for me, the best advice is that whatever you decide to pursue or to do, you gotta believe it to yourself in the real way, because that is the way that you're gonna communicate to your team, to the vendors, to the audience, and to everyone. And when you really feel that, and you're very uh, truthful, and organic and real about what you're trying to build, the results will come after alone. That is a guarantee, because you're not forcing it too much. When you try to
Hmm.
buy something, it's more like a transaction. But when you're building a project, when you're building a company, you gotta have the vision, you gotta believe what you're trying to do, and if you don't have that mindset, it's very easy to give up. That's the biggest problem, because this path is not easy at all. Again, it's a fight. So you're with a boxer, you gotta have, these 12 rounds, 3 minutes, and then stop. And then again, with entrepreneurship and building companies and being your own boss, it is the same. You gotta have your own, let's say, mini breaks, but then you gotta go back again, and do the best of it, because it is the only way to really live that process the best way. And you gotta have combinations of, if you can have a mentor while taking care of yourself, doing exercise, because if you don't manage to release all of those symptoms, you're gonna collapse at what point. Especially more creating events, because it's very stressful, this job. But if you manage to have that mentality, the results will come much, much better, and you will not suffer too much, because that's also part of the because
Hey,
you will suffer, like
the too much es lo que, you're right, es lo que jode. Pero you know what? I had a business partner that told me, and this is really great advice, is like, we're here to suffer, but we're here to suffer with purpose. And if you're
Correct.
and if you're here to suffer with purpose, whatever endeavor you're doing, either be a business or a job, just keep in mind that whatever you're doing, you're gonna suffer, but you're suffering for the purpose of having some, either some abundance or wealth or prosperity later in your life. So everything you said, you hit it right on the head, man. And I'm so appreciative of you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Augusto. Wisdom, dropping pure wisdom today, man. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure, speaking with you, and thank you for making me part of this great interview. And again, I would like to just invite our audience, to your audience, to keep dreaming and act. That will be the most important thing, to keep acting and manage to learn to enjoy the process. Because if you take a look to any champion, the path wasn't easy. They
Yeah.
need to suffer, they need to pay the price.
Yep.
And if you want to achieve that goal, you need to pay the price in each perspective. But once you get into that, the reward will be amazing. So thank you for having me, Jose. It's great to hopefully I can meet you one day in person, and you know that you have yourself
Absolutely.
a home in home, my
Absolutely.
friend.
I'm gonna have to make my way down to Miami. Now I have an excuse to go back down to
Exactly.
Miami.
There you go. There you go.
Augusto, one more
Thank you.
time, where can the people follow you on social media?
August Mendoza and Sim Industry Connect. That's in social media. In LinkedIn, Augusto Mendoza. So hopefully I can see any of you there. Happy to connect and continue. So I can share more of this process. So thank you very much.
My pleasure, Augusto. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You have an amazing weekend. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to all of you guys joining, and thank you so much for hanging out. Make sure you give me that follow on all social media at Jose G Official, and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Gonzalez Media TV. We appreciate you guys. I'll be back this afternoon with plenty of interviews. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys. Take care. Augusto, take care, Papa.
Thank you. Bye
Nos
bye.
vemos.